Hey, Rabbi, what do you prefer, to give a speech or to sell video surveillance?
Oh, come on, that's not a fair question.
Why not? What do you prefer? Or you prefer to help people? They're both helping.
Prefer to help people, exactly. Both help. You got me. You put me in the spot.
So how do you get involved in?
So being a rabbi, we always think of God, and we know we're taught in school that God looks at everything from above and He knows what's going on everywhere. So we thought, how can we be more godly? And video surveillance. If we could watch everything from above, how amazing would that be? How many lives can we save? So I'll tell you how. So after October 7th, myself being a rabbi and having a shul and a synagogue and a space where people come and they rely on us and they trust in us to look out for their safety while they're here, I was watching other fellow rabbis as well, all wanting to up our security game. Money, however, is a big factor. You have to hire 24/7 guards, which is important because people, even though I don't know if they think about this, but most attacks, vandalism, planning for attacks actually happens at night when no one's there. So to have
In the
24
cover of the night.
in the cover of the night, exactly. There's plenty of examples. Actually, our booklet can have it, but
examples.
like Governor Shapiro, the first night of Pesach, they firebombed his house. I mean, he's a U.S. governor sleeping in his house. They went and attacked his house at night when no one was looking.
That's with his live security, right?
And with his live security, with his actual guards, correct. Obviously, they were busy on their phones. The directors of the Brooklyn Museum, Jewish directors in June of 2024, they splashed the red paint everywhere and vandalized the building, and so on and so forth. There are plenty of shuls between recently who have unfortunately been attacked. So October 7th, everyone wants to raise their security game, and unfortunately, every day that goes by, we see more and more why that's important. And we're thinking, okay, to hire a physical guard outside a facility is over $20,000 a month. Any state across America, if you do the math, you need to have about 5 people to cover all the shifts for it to be 24/7. $20,000+ a month. That's for one guard. Now remember, a guard cannot see everything around the building at once. He can only be in one place at one time. He goes to the restroom. He takes lunch break. He takes dinner break. Whatever it is, he's a human being. He's one human being. How can we also make this more costly? More cost effective. Less costly, more cost effective, and actually even in some cases enhance the quality of the service of the security. So we came up with remote guards. Essentially, the remote guards we built the technology for them. I know you have to blur this out in the video, but just to give a concept, they sit and they can watch multiple sites. And we also color code different sites with addresses, and they know what they're looking at. They're trained for each site, what to see.
Don't mess with that guard right there.
They're watching everything. And for them to be fully alert, we developed a special technology that always demands their alertness, and it's maybe for another time to explain the details of how that works. But what's important is, every hour they take a break. They're not allowed to bring cell phones into our command center, so they're always fully focused, fully alert. They're well trained. They take background checks before we hire them. They take regular polygraphs if we choose so. We have XIDF training on site, ongoing, to make sure that they're familiar with all the procedures and the emergency procedures, etc. So all this is also, in many cases, like I said, a better security solution, but also a much more cost-effective solution.
Speaking about cost, what is the cost per location starting?
It can start anywhere from $750 a month, whereas physical guards cost $750 a day almost. It can cost $750 a month to watch during the evening times when when after people leave, and then it's $75 for every additional camera. So if there's a big facility, let's say that has 100 cameras, it's not going to be times. They don't need all cameras watched because many of them are interior cameras that are less sensitive or less important. We could just watch the main areas, the main common areas, the perimeter, etc. And then there are facilities that want us to watch, obviously 24/7, and we have the ability to do that as well. So,
do you only do Jewish centers? Or you do regular businesses as well?
We have good questions. So we actually have some churches reaching out to us now, because many of them are only active during the weekend, just on Sundays, and then the place is empty, and not even, just for attacks or things like that. They're worried maybe, for homeless people that are coming in and not treating the place properly or sleeping there, and this is not something that they can have liability wise, so they're interested in our service. We also have businesses, big warehouses that have expensive
Inventory.
We have big office buildings that have a lot of guards on site, physical guards that are costing them. We have a company that has a whole portfolio of buildings, and they're going to save with us millions of dollars a year by replacing some of their physical guards for remote guards. So there's many applications where this can be used, and it's very effective in all of them. We have great success stories. We're seeing success with this.
In general, when does a place or facility feel they need a real person versus camera? Where's there certain types of businesses more common to have someone real versus a camera, more business camera versus real?
I want to tell you something. In every single situation, having eyes is going to be valuable. Even if you have a physical guard there, like I said, he needs to go to the restroom, he needs to take a lunch break, he needs to look at his phone, answer the phone, whatever it is. One of our case studies we did recently is on the Washington, D.C. attack that happened at the museum. And, of course, I'm sure there was security there on site, but one of the things that were lacking was eyes watching what was going on. Now, I can't say that we could have prevented it from happening because, unfortunately, it happened outside, but, in the public street. And you can only pray to Hashem and hope, these things, but from prevent these things from happening. But one thing that we could have definitely assisted in is once the emergency happened, the shooter was walking around freely for over 15 minutes. No one knew who he was. No one knew that he was the shooter.
Did they have cameras in the museum?
I'm sure they have cameras, but no one was watching them. There's no way someone was watching them properly, because if someone was properly watching the camera, they would see there's a shooting, there's a commotion, something's going on. The guy with the black jacket is the shooter, and right away notify security. Click on the mic, pick up the phone, call the local security guard and say, hey, you have a gentleman, he's about 5.5 feet tall, he's standing at the west portion of the building, he has a hoodie on, he's your shooter. And they would right away know who they're looking for. They would right away they would share an image with local guards of who the shooter is and who they're looking for. Instead of over 15 minutes. Could have been more, and the miracle is that he didn't have any other, God forbid, explosive or other, other harming materials with him. That's something we could have helped with.
You started this business pretty recent. What's the hardest part of starting a software business?
So again, there's a software technology component that we're constantly building and trying to make even better and always polishing. And this is our software. No one in the world has this. No one in the world has the ability to watch the cameras the way we do. I was explaining to you earlier the way again, there are different ways of technologies. Some companies that watch cameras, they rely on AI and analytics to just trigger showing the camera popping up when a certain motion or a certain trigger happens, but that misses things, and there are delays and there's inefficiencies.
How do you find customers?
So how do we find customers? It's a good question. We have some salespeople, of course, that are going around. We're making presentations to a lot of different groups who are seeing the value in what we do. I can't share the name of the organization right now, but we just met with we had a great presentation last week with an organization who has ex law enforcement, ex FBI people on their security team who came and saw what we did, and they were very impressed, and they want to start working with us now. So that's
You do cold calls, Jesse?
I call some people. Yeah, we call some people that we know. Is what?
Is it hard?
Cold calling. It's always hard. Whenever you're calling someone, it doesn't matter. Whenever you're sitting on the side of the table that's calling to sell someone something, when we built the business, we're like, okay, we have the best thing. No one else in the world has this. We're just going to put it out there, and everybody's going to come running because our prices is also so cost effective. Everyone's going to call us. If you tell a building with a warehouse they have $10 million of inventory or $1 million of inventory of electronics that they don't need to hire a guard, they could just have us watch a night. Of course they're going to hire us right away, but it takes time because a lot of people are not familiar with how effective this is going to be. But we're seeing for the last while. We were also beta testing this for a while before going to market, so we're testing this already on a lot of sites. And what happens is someone approaches a property at night and they're not supposed to be there, or something's going on. So first of all, we'll assess to see if it's a real threat or not. But our guards will hit the button and they'll go, "Hey, you in the red shirt, get off the property. Cops are on the way." 9 out of 10 times that makes them run. They say, "Okay, this place is not an easy target. Let's move on to the next place."
Easy. Low hanging fruit.
Exactly. Our goal is not to get the cops there. Our goal is to get them our goal is to prevent the crime before it happens.
Because we know cops, can take up to 6 hours to get there.
It depends. Thank God our guards are trained in how to communicate with law enforcement, so they know how to use different codes and different word triggers to demand a quicker response. Our guys are trained to do that, and they go through ongoing training in how to communicate, because sometimes when speaking to the police, you could use one wrong word or one better word and actually get a better or worse police response. But again, the goal of getting the people away to prevent the crime before it happens, that's the best. That's the success for us.
Prevention.
Exactly. So we can see someone, home alarms, for example, only go off when someone broke into the home. That's about 20 minutes, 15 minutes too late. We can see the person on the cameras when they're outside the perimeter, when they're covering their face, when they're going around checking the different windows, when they're pulling out their crowbar to try to break the lock. We're seeing it 15 minutes before it happens. All we need to do is hit that button and go, you with the covered, with the black mask and the blue hoodie, cops are on the way. These guys bounce. They're out of there.
Have we gotten any arrests yet?
Yes, multiple.
Nice.
Yeah. It's
Give us
great.
a story. Give us a story. What type of property was it?
So we're watching a property for a rabbi here in Brooklyn. They bought a property. They bought a property to build a new synagogue, and it's a property that was vacant for a long time. So a lot of crackheads or bums hang out over there. Used to hang out over there, and the place was a wreck. When we got there, when we saw it, there was a bunch of needles and drugs and all over the place. And the first thing the rabbi did, they hired a team, and they went and they boarded up the property with plywoods. The next day they came back. That's what the bums did. They took it off. They said, "What kind of chutzpah is this? Who's
invading our home?
Who's invading our hangout spot?" So he tried this once or twice, and every time they pulled it down, and he can't stand there 24 hours to try to. There's only so much he could do. So he hired us, and we're watching the property 24/7. Whenever someone comes, and thank God it's going down less and less because they're already learning that there's a response, someone's watching. We put our horn systems there, our speakers, and whenever someone comes, we shout on the microphone, "Hey, we see you, get off the property, private property, guards are watching." And it works. And thank God they haven't had issues since, because we're getting people off, even people coming and, it's not going to get into the details, but some different stuff they shouldn't be doing on the property. And we had the cops come over and escort them off and take them out. We had a few arrests, in the Bronx, in Brooklyn, we had some people breaking into sites that we were able to get. Again, our biggest success is when the horn works. We have this every day almost. When we go on the horn, the person was trying to enter on the site and then he gets off. That's the best thing. Friday, Sunday today, Friday we had someone pass out in front of a property on a busy street. Guy, he looked dead on the galley. He looked completely out. Our guards reported on it. They called the local store owner next to where it was. They called EMS. EMS was there. They got the guy on a stretcher, took him to a hospital. Could be they saved the guy's life. So
I'm thinking also slip and fall things. If you have everything on
big
camera.
liability, big thing. So very big. Slip and fall is a very big deal, because construction sites, properties will have someone slip in front, and a lot of these are scams. We had a story like this already. It's amazing how much we've done in such a short time. But we had. It's a long story. We had a property here in Brooklyn where DOB emergency service response showed up, and we sent the picture on the chat, and the owner said, why is emergency building department showing up in front of my building? Maybe there's a complaint somewhere in the system. So then they knew to go and check, and they saw that someone complained a brick fell from the building on their shoulder the day prior. So we're watching the cameras the day prior. We said no such thing happened. No ambulances came. No one got hurt. We see everything going on because we're watching for this owner 24/7, not just at night. It's all around the clock. And it seemed pretty clear. Okay, someone's probably trying to pull a quick one and make some money on this building owner. But just to be sure, the building owner wanted us to review all the footage again. So we had one of our guards sit in our command center and replay all the footage of the 48 hours.
I guess you can high speed it, right?
Prior, yeah, but it's still 48 hours. Even at high speed, you can only watch. It took many hours, but we did it as a courtesy for the client, and we were able to verify. So from reviewing the footage, we were able to verify that nothing happened, and we were able to potentially save this building owner hundreds of thousands and maybe millions of dollars from a potential lawsuit, which you'll probably get, because usually these things are done as a scam where someone wants to just have a record somewhere that, oh look, building department, there was a claim on this in the state that something happened, and they're going to try to sue for something that happened. Maybe they got hurt somewhere else, but they're just using this building as the as where to make the
They
claim.
heard there's better insurance than that.
On this building, that's where they're trying to hit up, exactly. So from now on, we have our signs that we put outside our building saying it's protected by U.S. Virtual Guard, and our goal is for every thief and every scammer to know that, and every guy attack, terrorist, when you see that sign,
personal
don't
injury
mess.
lawyer, right?
Don't mess with this. Don't mess with this property. You're wasting your time. We're gonna get you before it even happens.
How much? How many days do you save footage for typically? How far could someone go back? And when does the system delete?
So the systems depend on how many gig, terabytes in the hard drive that they have, the local owners, and that's where it's stored. Unless they want to pay additional costs for us to have it saved beyond that, on an off-site server.
Cloud.
But that's a whole nother service.
What do you recommend clients in terms of keeping footage for? And what do people do? What do you recommend?
And when we're watching, if anything happens, we'll see it. So we'll keep the record that something happened. We'll have a recording of it. It's important to have it for periods of time, because you can get a lawsuit today for 6 months later. Hey, someone slipped in front of your property. They broke their leg and they want to sue you for $1 million.
So what do you advise? What's the time people should keep
I think
footage?
it's important to have it for over a year.
Over a year.
Yeah. Really up to 3 years. If you really want to be 100% safe, 3 years.
What does it cost? Just a hard drive memory for 3 years of typical footage on the property.
Depends on it all depends.
How much memory do you need? Would you guesstimate?
It's a lot. It's a lot. The right way to do it is remotely off-site.
Cloud.
Yeah, because you want to make sure nothing gets damaged locally. Locally, things could get stolen. They could get damaged.
So what would it cost cloud storage fees for 3 years?
It's not cheap.
Throw us a number.
It could be about $5,000 a year.
A year.
Yeah.
If you want 3 years.
If you have a sensitive site and you want to be, you want to do it proper, that's the right way. But again, if you have a remote guard watching the whole time, you can be safe to assume that if anything happens, we'll pick it up. So that's also, it could just be included in the service. You don't have to have both. You could choose to, if you like.
Okay, what is the hard cost per camera?
We're not really in the camera installation business.
You don't do that, or you could?
We do it. We can
sub
if we
it
need
out?
to. We have our own employees that do it also, especially for maintenance and stuff.
What's the range of per camera would you say? It's a totally new, new building or new.
A camera
What would give us a
to
range?
put it with installation could be between $500 and up, depending on the camera manufacturer
Per camera
system.
installation.
Usually,
And I guess and how far does the camera reach usually? Or I guess the quality drops as it
quality
goes,
drops
right?
as it goes. Yeah, obviously the newer cameras are better. People buy a new iPhone every year. People buy a new phone every year too, right? Your phone doesn't last the same. People
And
get to do the
security
same thing with
cameras.
security cameras. Every year there's a new one and there's a better one, and it's important to upgrade from everyone, from time to time.
So I guess you're more focused on the software side.
We're more
But you
focused on the
facilitate-
remote guarding, correct?
And you can facilitate. Is that a break-in?
What?
That calling?
Nice.
I think we covered a lot on almost everything. I'm sure there's always more to learn, more to explore. Do
I'm gonna
private homeowners?
Private homes, of course.
You have
yes.
that?
Yes.
Because
yes.
I recently went to someone's house because I'm also in the art business to deliver a painting. As I about to walk in his house, he had this unmarked car with like an off-duty police officer jump out of his car like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" I was like, "Wow!" In Brooklyn, he had a 24/7 security outside his house. So maybe I could pitch him on this project.
Exactly.
Because I'm sure that guy is not cheap in having that service.
No question about it. So those are exactly the types of people who are coming to us. People have vacation homes, second homes, where they're not visiting for 10 months of the year, 11 months out of the year. and they want someone watching their home. This is a great solution. It's a great option. It's affordable. Someone's watching your property. We'll pick up a lot of things. We'll not just if someone's trying to break into your house. We had a house with a big water leak. Water busted, and would have found out months later the whole place would have been mold already. I mean, who wants to come to their vacation home with mold in their house?
I know the ski resorts, the locals know which houses to use the hot tub and the pool because they're only there 2 weeks a year.
Exactly. So imagine you can have a guard watch your house. Bye. Imagine you can have a guard 24/7 watch your property.
And I'm assuming as the cameras grow, prices are more flexible, negotiable, right?
Depends on the service, depends on what we're looking at. When we're watching a home that's a busy city street and there's so much information to always process and assess, and there's a lot of potential things that the shift manager and team needs to review and see if this is an issue, we're going to be less flexible, as in where someone's, the property is just empty for 10 months a year.
Interesting. So the busier the location, the more time
consuming,
focus.
100%.
I never thought about that.
So it's more demanding, yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. The company is called?
US Virtual Guard. People could visit the website usvirtualguard.com, or we also bought a short domain, which is the acronym of our name, usvg.com. And you can
phone
go
number?
to
What's the phone number?
usvg.com/join now. You could fill out your information and someone will reach out to you quickly for you to sign up.
Direct number? We have a direct number?
Direct number is 718-208-2020. That's our office hotline.
Cool. Thank you so much, Rabbi Yossi. Much success on your new venture.
Thank you so much.
And we hope to hear more cool, new, exciting updates.
Of course, thank you.
Hey guys, my wife has been complaining that I've been walking not home enough I'm busy with my on the street interviews, so I just decided I'm going to actually just set up US virtual guards all over the street, and I'm actually going to interview sitting from my home. So that's what I'm going to do. Hey, you over there. Yeah, you the guy loading the truck. How much money do you make loading that truck? Only possible with US virtual guard. Right, Rabbi Yossi?